Hi, everybody. How are you guys? I'm so glad to be here. I am prepared for the evening. I hope everybody's doing really well. It is a crazy place around here. Bob has pneumonia, and the medicine, his prescription was sent to a pharmacy that was 2.5 hours away. Um, So we had them say, flip it to mail it to us, which usually only takes like 24 hours to get it here. No, still not here. Anyway, it's been a couple days since he slept. He's sitting in a chair that we have out in the living room that was my mom's. That's really kind of perfect for when you can't sleep and you can't lay down and you cough and stuff. So it supports him pretty well, but he's fairly miserable. Anyway, yep. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the medicine will be here tomorrow and we will start kicking this thing for him. Keeping lots of fluids and doing all that stuff. And I've had pneumonia so many times, I'm kind of connected to it. He's having some issues with it. It's hard. It's hard. He can't sleep. He coughs all the time. He can hardly speak and without coughing. So it's rough. Anyway, but I still wanted to come down here and give him a chance to just chill and watch something that he watches, and maybe he might even fall asleep a little bit. Cheer, fingers. Anyway, let's see. How is everybody? Linda's here. Yeah. Yes, Tamara changed her icon. It's very cool. I like it. It's a neat one of her goddess pictures. It looks like I have it on a fairly small screen. I haven't got it bigger. I'll have to look at it larger. Eating lunch at cold. A strange summer. Yeah, you're having a strange. We had, when I was in Phoenix, we had snow here in Washington, and then today it was sunny and cold. But yeah. Anyway, yep, he's not improving. Not yet. He's a little bit improved. He was actually able to get on the phone and talk to the pharmacy, try to get it straightened out today, which talking on the had been quite a thing. And there's Fatima's here. Yay. Fatima's here, Linda. Oh gosh. And Angie's here. Oh, hi Angie. Nice to have you here. Wasn't this a gorgeous day today? The sunshine. I had to drive into Gig Harbor to my sister's this morning to meet my niece, and I'll show you why I had to meet her before I jump into the story, because it's pretty funny. And there's Larry. Yeah. So drove into Carolyn's, went to hers the other day to pick something up, and that Jennifer had dropped off. My niece Jennifer is an amazing artist. She's also a teacher, and she has more energy and enthusiasm than probably take my whole family and put it together. And yeah, it's just crazy. She's so amazing. But this is her and her husband's midwinter break. He's a school psychologist, and it's not their kids' midwinter break. So they have different breaks, and they're just thrilled because they're woohoo. But Jennifer signed up to be the co-chair of a art fundraiser for the Maple Valley Arts Alliance community. And they did this last year, and she painted some of these things last year. And this community has what they call the slug hunt. And so Jennifer has made some 500 air dry clay slugs. And then she's getting artists to paint them. Then people will be able to buy a $25 slug hunting license for this big community fundraiser things. And then the slugs will be all hidden. They'll be dipped in resin after they're painted, and they'll be hidden all over the forest and out through the park. And so this is the whole thing. So I volunteered to paint some. And at first it was just 4. And then I stopped by Tarts and they said they would be doing a bunch. And so let me show you the slugs. So I did one. This is my neurographic slug I got started on. He's my first one. And the antenna are matchsticks. And Jennifer did some last year that are just, oh my gosh, I'll have to show them on Sunday. She did a Starry Night and a Mondrian, and real slugs are not appreciated. No, see, and everybody says this and goes, oh my God, they're so big. Well, this is normal size slugs. If you're talking banana slugs in the Northwest in the rainforest, they get this big easily. And so I went and met her at my sister's today and picked up another 34 slugs. And so ducks love slugs, yes. Anyway, so it's kind of hilarious. I'll be painting slugs. That's probably what you'll see from my art things. But I did one neurographic one last night, and I'm going to do another one of a different kind of neurographic type thing. And I've got some ideas. I might try to do some camouflage slugs where, maybe one like an orca whale or I have some ideas. If anybody has ideas of what I could paint them like, hey, come with those ideas on Sunday and let me know or email me ideas because I'm going to be busy painting slugs. I just could, yeah, she did talk my sister into painting 6 of them. And she didn't talk Aunt Patty into it. I'm surprised. And she didn't talk Sarah into it. Which is, it's kind of hard to say no to Jen. Really, it is, because she does so much. Yeah, I was thinking that, Larry, I was going to put little Volkswagens all over one. The old Volkswagen bugs. I was going to do that. But then I'm also going to do one that has just bugs on it, like a slug bug. Okay, so that's my idea so far. Cow skin. Yeah, snails can bounce, Linda. Did you know that? We used to have I taught my girls we had these slug tossing contests when we lived in Kirkland, and the girls would scoop them up and toss them, and the higher the arc, the more. It's kind of like skipping stones. See how many bounces you can get? Yeah. Dots. She did a dot one. I'll show it to you on Sunday. She did one like the dot artist, and oh my gosh, paint like a galaxy across the yard they'll bounce. They bounce quite well. Slugs are awesome. Well, some slugs. Yeah, and this is the size that they are here in Washington. It is not unusual to be out in the rainforest and come across banana slugs that are this large, as large as my hand. Yeah, and they're gross. So that's my thing. I'm going to be doing slugs. Oh, you guys got some great ideas. Cow skin, I like that. And a galaxy and a Volkswagen bug and the dots. Yeah, I was going to do a mandala type one. We landed on the moon. The eclipse is coming soon. Galaxy, yes. Yeah, today was on lunar landing. First one in 51 years. And for the United States. And it was all robotic. We used to get the salt out when we were kids. We had beer everywhere. Put you'd sink in cups and get the cheapest beer you could and fill the cups up with beer, and then they drown themselves. And it's transmitting. Oh, they fry up great. Ew. So somebody was trying to convince me. I was on with my friend Rochelle on a Zoom call, and she said, do you eat them? And I said, no. And she said, well, aren't they just like snails? And I'm like, no. I just couldn't. I can't equate snails and slugs. No, I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. What? Zebra slugs, big ones. Ah, I like that. And a giraffe. I can do a whole African series. Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. African series. And we have a slug bugs, and we have a cow, and we had spots, and somebody else said something else. Who else said something else? Polka dot. Jen did that one. It's cow skin. Volkswagen, but Galaxy. Okay. I'm writing these down because I know I won't remember. All right. Anyway, so tonight I have a book for you, and it is another book by Don Tate. And this one is, I think, the last one of his that I have to read. And then on Sunday, I'll be back with Silly Stories. This is a biography of William Still and his freedom stories. William Still is considered the father of the Underground Railroad. Another one of those people that I never heard about in my education of Black history. You heard about Harriet Tubman all the time, but I never heard about William Still. And I thought, man, I need to read this story, and it's a beautiful one. He's so good. I had all these books to return to Jennifer that I did the other day, and I mean to return to the library, and so I took them, and Jen was taking pictures of them because she is the she's not only teaching art, but she's also an ELL teacher, English language learners, and she was the dean of students for a while. She hated that, so yeah, she really wants to go do what I used to do and be the librarian, but she's doing she really has it ideal right now because she gets to do ELL, English language learners, and she's fluent in Spanish and something else, I think. And she gets to teach art. So she's kind of a happy camper. And her 3 kids are hilarious. So here we go. We're going to go in for this first story here. Cowskin. I'm going to check everybody's landed on the moon. A slug the slug that wore polka dots. Oh, that's a good story. The slug that wore polka dots. Oh my gosh. Polka dots. I want to do camouflage, like maybe have one, like I said, as an orca or a penguin, or maybe just in camel gear. Wouldn't that be funny? Zebra. I love the zebra. That zebra idea. That would be great. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Oh, we could have the Tin Man. I have silver. We could have Dorothy. Oh my gosh. Santa Claus slug. Oh, gnome slugs. Ate witchy grub. Oh, yellow submarine. Oh my gosh. Termite. Tasted like cashews. Larry's slugging it out. I know. It is a slug fest for sure. Uncle Sam slug. Vegan bugs. Oh my gosh, you guys are funny. All right. Okay, I'm going to take another sip of my wine because that's how I'm relaxing. It is not easy to watch Bob be as miserable as he is, and his fever going up and down and not being able to to talk. Well, that's okay. But he chokes so badly, and he's not hungry, and oh my gosh. So it's a challenge. I just want to get him well. So the book tonight is William Still and his freedom stories. All right. I hope, yay. I fixed this up. I set this up with my phone here as a camera so that I can read the book. And still, this, from what I understand, the end papers are from his journal. And it says that he was writing to Harriet Tubman at the top. You can see that. And that's the end papers from the book in the front. William Still and his freedom stories, the father of the Underground Railroad. The Illustrations are done in, they're, they're digitally rendered, and on the back end papers, transcription of the text from the journal pages. Okay, we'll get there. This story begins at a time when the United States was split in two. In the North, black people were free. In the South, they were enslaved by whites. Slavery was a nightmare. Back-breaking work under the scorching sun, threats of lashing or worse, no pay. Children were separated from their mamas and papas and brothers and sisters, sold away at auction, never to be seen again. Sometime during the 1700s, Levin and Sidney Steele were held captive on a Maryland farm, forced to work. Their 4 children were too. The family yearned to live free. "I will die before I submit to the yoke," Levin told the man who enslaved him. The two came to an agreement. Levin was allowed to work over hours, actually receiving a small income. With the money he earned, Levin purchased his freedom. But freedom wasn't always fair, especially to black people. Could a free black man remain in the South? Levin must have wondered, might he be enslaved again? No chancing that, Levin bid his family goodbye, with a plan to return to rescue them later. In a blink, What's that? In a blink, he bolted north. Sidney wasn't so fortunate. There was no opportunity for her or the children to purchase their freedom. They remained behind, still enslaved, a separation Sidney could not endure. Torn and tormented, she whispered a parting prayer for her 2 boys, who were big and strong enough to fend for themselves. Then she escaped with her 2 girls. Sidney reunited with her husband in the pine woods near Washington Township, New Jersey. Now they were together, free as the wind. They changed their last name from Steele to Still to throw slave catchers off. Their new life was good, but living ached like an open sore. Levin and Sidney longed for the 2 sons that they had left behind. Over the years, the family grew. Now there were 15 children, 15 mouths to feed. Oh, how they struggled. Money was tight, food was scarce. Shoes, if any, were hand-me-down. In 1821, the youngest child was born. Sunlit eyes, mahogany skin. They named him William. He grew quick as a weed. 8 years later, a neighbor was attacked late one night. The man had once been enslaved in the South. He escaped and found peace in the pines. Slave catchers tracked the man down. They rushed at him, cuffed his arms, beat him badly. Thankfully, the man escaped again, but he needed help, and soon the greedy men were still on the prowl. The neighbors called on William. The young boy knew every nook and cranny in the woods. William led the man to safety, some 20 miles away. The experience defined the rest of his life. William's father ruled the roost. His rules, chores were the priority. Education was not. Schooling had to wait for rainy days, when the ground was too soggy to work. William looked forward to sharpening his mind, but attending class was no easy walk in the woods. The North might have been free, but free was not always fair, especially to black people. One day, on the walk home after school, white kids pushed William over the side of a bridge. They laughed. William plunged into the water. Eventually, William's father pulled him out of school. Learning to read would have to wait for a few seasons. 3 winters later, conditions had improved. William returned to class when he was 17. He was there by sunrise, home after dusk. He studied spelling, defined words, practiced enunciation, learned math, and before long, he knew how to write, too. One wintry evening, warmed by a fire, William grasped his favorite newspaper, The Colored American, an anti-slavery newspaper. It was owned and published by black people. They published stories that protested discrimination against black people in the North. They printed stories that encouraged emancipation of slaves in the South. The newspaper made William recall his parents' stories. Stories about slavery, stories about escape, stories about his older brothers left behind to suffer in bondage. William shouldered those stories into the next chapter of his life. By age 23, William craved more excitement, as any young man would. Life in the pines moved at a snail's pace. Might the big city bring bigger opportunities? In 1844, he decided to find out. With $3 in his pocket and $1 billion in pride, William planted himself north of the Delaware River in East Philadelphia. First things first, he needed a job and a roof over his head. Neither came readily. For 3 long years, William bounced from low-paying job to low-paying job. He threshed clamshells, hauled wood, laid bricks. He peddled oysters, dug wells, hawked clothes. He worked on a dock, then at a hotel, barely earning the smell of money. Long, cold winters, grumbling belly, no decent place to lay his head. Not as glamorous as the life he had imagined. But then a new opportunity arose. The Pennsylvania Anti-Slavery Society needed an office clerk. The pay was disappointingly low, but the job might lead Williams straight to the most prominent anti-slavery organizers in the area. With a foot in the door, maybe he could help enslaved people escape from the South. Reluctantly, he accepted the job. "I go for liberty and improvement," William wrote in a letter to his new employers. In his new job, William sorted mail, emptied trash, swept office floors until his arms ached. Not quite what he had hoped. William's employers were doing the work he hoped to do. They were abolitionists who spoke loudly against slavery. They sponsored meetings, signed petitions, published newspapers. William worked hard beyond his office duties. He earned his employees' trust, gained their respect, their loyalty. He climbed higher and higher until one day he became the manager. At that time, freedom-seeking people were drawn to Philadelphia like a magnet. It was the nearest free city to the slave-holding South. They arrived daily by the dozens, passengers on a secret network called the Underground Railroad. Freedom-seeking men and women, young and old and in between, running, hiding, praying. They traveled from house to church, river to swamp, stop to stop to stop. It was a dangerous, top secret journey from slavery to freedom. The passengers who arrived in Philadelphia were tired. They were sick and hungry, cut up, broken, marred and maimed, frantic, fearful, and fed up, but hopeful. William sought these travelers out and welcomed them into his home, which was now a station on the Underground Railroad. One evening, an unexpected passenger arrived at his office. The man was middle-aged, stooped back, furrowed brow, threadbare clothes. His name was Peter. He was looking for his mother, his family. Peter recounted his story, and William listened in awe. Turned out, Peter had been enslaved in the South for more than 40 years. He'd gotten away, and now he wanted to find his family who had escaped before him. Peter recalled the names of his parents, Levin and Sidney. He named one of his brothers Levin. William was thunderstruck. Could this be his Peter? His long-lost but never forgotten older brother? Yes, he was. But Peter was confused by William's news. Was this some kind of trick to capture and return him to the South? He needed some convincing from a mother who looked just like him. Peter's story was sad, tragic, miraculous, and extraordinary. And Peter's story restored his family. Could other people's stories reunite other families torn apart by slavery? From that point forward, William recorded every detail about each freedom seeker who passed through his home or office. He recorded their names, ages, boy or girl, man or woman, the hue of their skin, copper, chestnut, dark brown, 5 feet 7 inches, about 35. Who had enslaved them? Where did they come from? Where were they going? It wasn't his job to do so, but William thought these written records might help someday. William's hard work didn't go unnoticed. He climbed higher and higher in the anti-slavery society, becoming the leader of a committee assigned to help freedom-seeking people. William corresponded with other agents on the Underground Railroad. He conducted interviews, counted money. He planned the rescues of freedom-seeking people, but his work didn't stop there. William also recorded the stories of people seeking freedom on his line of the Underground Railroad. In many ways, this was his most important work. William and Ellen Craft, a married couple, escaped slavery in Georgia. Traveling on first-class trains, they stayed in the best hotels and dined with a steamboat captain, all in disguise. Fair-skinned Ellen passed as a white man. Her husband pretended to be her slave. A man enslaved in Virginia climbed into a wooden crate and had himself shipped 28 hours to freedom, earning the name Henry Box Brown. And on several nights, freedom-seeking people passed through William's line on the Underground Railroad network, led by Harriet Moses Tubman herself, who had gone into the belly of the South to rescue them. William's committee provided them with money and replaced their worn shoes. William's work grew 2, 3, 4 times as long. His records helped reunite families torn apart by slavery, to find each other once they'd found freedom. But when enslaved people escaped, their southern enslavers lost money. They demanded new laws. In 1850, the Fugitive Slave Act was enacted. It required the return of runaways who had been captured, even if they found their way to freedom. People living in free states where slavery was outlawed were forced to cooperate with the law or be brutally punished. The Fugitive Slave Act resulted in the kidnapping of free black people by greedy slave catchers and federal agents. No black person, free or not, north or south, was safe. William's work now put him in great danger. His records were evidence of crimes committed. William had a plan. He bundled his records, all those stories, and placed them where no one would think to look. In the back of a cemetery, inside a dark vault, among the rats and the dead. The laws were meant to shut down the Underground Railroad, but shut it down they did not. In Pennsylvania and New York, Michigan and Vermont, black people, black neighborhoods, black churches drove the Underground Railroad full steam north, carrying freedom-seeking people straight on into Canada, known as Freedom's Land, where they would be safe. William's work at the Anti-Slavery Society was outstanding. But after 14 long years, he made barely any more money than he had on the day he started. Helping freedom seekers was his passion, but passion didn't put food on the table. For his growing family, it was time for a change. William resigned his job at the Anti-Slavery Society. He started a coal business. In 1860, the United States was bitterly divided over the issue of slavery. War broke out, many died. In 1861, a new president was elected. Could Abraham Lincoln reunite the country? Could he choose freedom or slavery? In time, Lincoln did the right thing. He chose freedom. William's coal business thrived in the shadow of the Civil War, and by the 1870s, he was one of the richest black men of his time. But even now, life was still not always fair, especially to black people. William used his power and influence to help. Black children had been excluded from the YMCA, so William helped start a branch for them. Black people had been forbidden from riding Philadelphia's city streetcars, so William protested and won. In 1872, he published his book, The Underground Railroad, a collection of stories of hardships and hairbreadth escapes. William Still's records and the stories he preserved reunited families torn apart by slavery, because that's what stories can do. Protest injustice, soothe, teach, inspire, connect. Stories save lives. William's stories needed to be told, so slavery's nightmare will never happen again. And there's a timeline of the life and times of him, and the author's note. He says, my mom has always been my biggest supporter and influence. When I was a kid, she'd provide art supplies, encouragement, and prayers. She still does the same today. But she also sends books as gifts and inspiration for stories I might want to write. Not long ago, she sent a battered copy of the Biographical Dictionary of Black Americans by Rachel Krantz. I didn't think much of it at that time. I mean, Mom's always sending me stuff. The book is a who's who of Black history figures with stories and photographs. During the following Black History Month, I decided to sketch portraits from the book, one drawing a day, and post them to my social network. The complete collection can be downloaded for free at this point at donate. Anyway, at first, I focused on familiar people like Dr. Martin Luther King, Bessie Coleman, and Barack Obama, but then I decided to place more emphasis on lesser-known historical figures like Osborne Anderson and Eartha Kitt and Angela Davis. Then one day, I came across the entry for William Still, leader of the Underground Railroad. My curiosity was piqued. Harriet Tubman was the only name that I was familiar with regarding the Underground Railroad. I knew she had helped funnel hundreds of freedom-seeking people north and on up to Canada, but I'd never heard of William Still or any other black person associated with the Underground Railroad system, other than the numerous brave runaways. At his death, William Still, a free black resident in 19th century Philadelphia, was eulogized as the father of the Underground Railroad. He was also a best-selling author of a book called The Underground Railroad. Why his relative obscurity? Man. And he goes on to talk about that. And then here is the end paper. Harriet Tubman, December 29th, 54, arrived. John Case now, Dan Lloyd, Ben Ross now. Oh, these are the translation of the people that he wrote about on his end papers in his journal. Oh my goodness. Isn't that cool? Whoa, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, I have to go back and see what everybody has been saying. Sergeant Pepper's. Oh my gosh, Lonely Slug, Sergeant Pepper's. I'm going to have Jen's going to be Sergeant Pepper's. Psst. It's the wine. Blue Meanie Slug. A Blue Meanie Slug. A hunchback once you get one. You can go to with Humspone's Camels and a Hunchback of Notre Dame. Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. These are hilarious. A slugfest. You guys are cracking me up. Which fromage? How do you saddle them? And how do you hold on being that they're slimy like that? Oh, a slug with a saddle and a cowboy hat. Oh, my gosh. I did a whole post on Hive the other day about riding a camel. I don't know where it came from. Yeah. So sad. I know. Jago Sluggo. Oh my gosh. And to jump the slug. That was in Sudan. Yeah, the Sudan was a horrendous place for so long. And now the Congo is, oh my gosh, there's some rough things going on over there. I'm glad you liked it, Tamara. It is an incredible book. On a serious note, with 2 little screws, you could have a fine Frankenstein slug. I could replace the antenna on one with screws and call it a Frankenslug. A Frankenslime slug. A Frankenslime. Oh my gosh. Oh, Larry. A Frankenslime slug, yes. Oh my gosh. Sad thing. Well, I loved that book. I hope you guys did too. That how much that he learned from that book that his mom sent him. And then he goes on and says, Philadelphia was home to the largest population of free blacks in the country at that time, and they played a major role in helping enslaved people escape to places in the North. They were ardent opponents to slavery and were more likely than others to participate directly in slave rescues. I decided to write this book about William Still because I felt his story needed telling. His time was overdue. My hope is that this book will help raise awareness of his contributions to the Underground Railroad, as well as the tens of thousands of other free black Philadelphians who worked tirelessly on behalf of their people. I'll bet my sweet mom had no idea what she was doing when she sent that book to me. Or maybe she did. Oh my goodness. That was a great book. I really like that one. I really like that one. Ugh. But I picked up some books at the library today that are pretty funny. Some are sweet and one's just plain out funny. Of course, it's got a chicken as a main character, so who knows? Of the Aberrant. And now Ding Dong is reaping what he sowed and is trying to take it back. Oh, the book banning in Florida turned into a fiasco. And now the Ding Dong governor is reaping what he sowed and is trying to take it back. Abominable snow slug. Oh my gosh. Do you think I could put like cotton on it and fuzzy? Oh, no, we got to resin them. I know. I could put impasto on it and have it be like kind of sticking out so that it stuck to it and made it all texturized and made him like an abominable snow slug. Oh my goodness. 3 slugs and you're out. Scrooge McSlug. Oh my gosh. You guys are completely the best supplier of ideas that I swear to God, this is hilarious. Oh, Frankenslime. I gotta make a Frankenslime. That's gonna crack me up. I'll have to put like screws in its side of its neck. Oh my gosh. And joints. How am I gonna paint these? I'm gonna show up at Larry and Angie's house and with a box of white slugs that need to be painted in here. Here, these need to be done. You guys could do a pour over them for me. Some pour over slugs for me. I just only, 38 slugs by the end of March. No problem, right? We'll see how it goes. A pasta slug. Like I did when I did my pasta markers. And you know how Posca markers, the Posca, I did a drawing of pasta markers. Yeah. Oh, well, that's me. All right, you guys. That's it for stories tonight. And I just thought this one needed its own stage, and I liked it a lot. That's the last one I think I have from Dawn Tate, at least until I find another one. Really, I mean, author illustrator is really good. But I have some fun books coming up. I have a couple other I checked out, and we'll be back on Sunday. So send in your art, please. Yes, so the Posca markers, but I did pasta markers, and I did a whole drawing of them that was a play on it, and had them standing up, and I did some like like the swirly ones and the skinny spaghetti and the linguine ones and the sweet slug dreams. You make me laugh. Sweet slug. I know. God, I'm gonna have a slug. Oh my gosh, Jen's just gonna crack up. She's just gonna die. She's gonna. Hey, thanks, Lupe. All right, it's so nice to have you here. I'm glad you guys are here. You just made me laugh. Rotini Spa. So, send in your artwork for Sunday, please. I want to see what you've been working on. What did I paint? Well, other than painting a slug. Yeah. Neurographic slugs, kind of fun. It's got a pink tongue. I think I'm going to put Google eyes on it. I think it needs Google eyes. Don't you think that the slug needs Google eyes? I think, yeah. He needs a long tongue. That would be cool, too. You know, slug slime is the worst. I tell you, I remember my nephew, Jen's cousin, Sarah's son, Matt, when he was one time, he picked up slugs and he let them crawl all over his hands. Slug slime does not come off. It sticks to the skin. We couldn't get it off with like Comet or Boraxo or anything. It just, ooh. Yeah, googly eyes are the best. Kids I love it. I make all kinds of things with googly eyes. I could do it. Oh my gosh, I'm just going crazy now. This is going to be like, how to plan these out. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa slug. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa slug. Oh dear. All right. Copyright strike on that one probably if I sing the song. Anyway. All right, you guys. Ew, she says. Wrap a slug around a martini glass. Oh, there's a book about, there was a slug book that I used to read, and it was hilarious about dipping them in this and that. And oh my gosh, I gotta find that slug book. I know I have it. It was just one of those totally warped books that I read to kids all the time. Oh well, and I'll just have to find it to read to you because you would appreciate a finely warped book, I'm sure. All right, you guys, that's it for it. Thanks for filling my bucket. Thank you so much for being there. I hear Mr. Pneumonia coughing. Yes, nope, it's not whooping cough, Angie, and it's not. Although there are some other strains, I've had whooping cough too. That's not a fun thing to have. Definitely not. I got that one. Our school got it one time, and I got it, and it was to the point where the school nurse wouldn't let me come back to school unless I had my pneumonia shot, which you don't get them all the time because they taper off, so you're supposed to get one everything. But she always made sure mine was at the right point because I had pneumonia. I don't know, 6 times, I think. Walking pneumonia, I got whooping cough, and I got all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. I've had my shot. I'm doing all my stuff to keep it. Wine's good, and he doesn't drink, so. Anyway. All right, Horton, here's a slug. Wow. A pirate slug. Walk your plank, you slimy slug. A pirate slug. I love that. Fatima, that's great. Arrgh, you slimy booger. Okay, I gotta go. You guys are cracking me up. Until next time, everybody, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. But the first place you'll find it is when you go look in the mirror. And I will slime out of here, and I'll see you next Thursday. No, next Sunday. And we'll slug it out. Until then, everybody, take care.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Feeling alright, we won't go home, we will just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by my side. We could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling typical.
So you
I
said
put
buzz.
you on a pedestal. There's not just stars on the boulevard. They're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards. I just need you by my side. We could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too. We could be famous. We could be famous. We could be famous. We could be famous.
Oh my gosh. You got a hair going.
We could
like
be shameless,
rings.
famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too. We could be famous. We could be famous. We could be
That's just
famous.
perfectly low. Just the right amount.
We could be famous.
Oh my gosh. This about us. You guys, I gotta go. I love it. This is great. Love you guys. Thanks. So